There have been many incredible finales over the years. We have had unbelievable finals in all different forms of motorsport. You look at 2014 Formula 1 season. You look at 2010, the World Rally Championship. But tonight, in the Renault Mégane Trophy, Lobby 2 here with NXTGEN Racing, powered by PowerMax of course, we have a 5-driver shootout for the championship crown. I'm Jaxie M53, your commentator for Lobby 2 as always, around this incredible Red Bull circuit, and mother of mercy, it is going to be one unbelievable fight to the end. 5 drivers, as I mentioned, all involved in the absolute climactic finale I'm fairly certain we're going to have. We're at the best track to have this type of finale on, round the Red Bull Ring GP circuit. We're perfectly acclimatised with 10 corners around this circuit. It is a slipstream festival around here, and who is going to be the victor at the end of it all? It's hard to predict. It's impossible to predict almost, but we'll find out in the next hour who is going to be that champion. Now, in terms of the drivers who are up for the championship crown, we have, of course, the 5 drivers I'm about to mention. Leading the way currently on first place and has regained a championship lead in recent times, it's NXTGEN Dominator 3 on 259 points. Then following up in second position is Dud CF14 on 255. Third place you have D Hartley 79 on 252, KZ2 Haas on 244, and on 234 the last of the championship chances goes along of Duskiver. That's on 234. There's going to be a lot of connotations throughout this championship fight tonight. Looking at all of the drivers, they've all won races this season, they've all driven excellently, but who will get there? Who will get that championship crown? Feel free to put comments in the chat if you want to decide who is going to be the man for you to take that championship crown. You're looking at the drop score totals is what I've just given you in terms of 259, 255, 252, 244 and 234. Well, we have reached the critical time. We are going into qualifying, so I'll make a start here. I don't need to say much more. Let's get on with it. Just make sure D Hartley has in fact joined, because I know he's spectating. Just make sure he's in, because we want to make sure he gets the chance to qualify, of course. And we will wait for that moment. That's not to say that there aren't drivers out there on track tonight who can cause an upset, and D Hartley's just done that for us. So let's get qualifying underway. The tension is building. The atmosphere in the pre-race chat in the Méganes has been very sort of almost deflective, would be the right way of saying it. They don't want to take a shot who wants to win. No one's bigging themselves up in Lobby 2. They're all very friendly with one another, but the drivers have to do the talking on the circuit now as we enter the 10 minutes of qualifying for the first race of 2 for tonight. The pressure on all 5 of these drivers, but more likely than not, NXTGEN Dominator 3 will be feeling it just that little bit more. 3 points in front, leads the championship as a result of drop scores, rather 4 points in front. Who's going to win this? Dominator will hope he can. He's been outstanding all season long. He's had 4 race victories throughout the season. So you're just double checking, there's actually 5. Well done. On that note, 5 race victories though this season for NXTGEN Dominator. He's had 5 pole positions as well. He's had, you know, the only other person to have got pole positions on time is Duskiver, who's the outsider in this championship. I've just got a quick scan over to the cars there. You got a couple of comments. So Jordan saying good evening to you, Jordan. Chalk just saying good luck to everybody, and Duds has got a supporter in the form of Ironic Killer X saying come on Duds, you've got this. You know, Duds became the informed man during the earlier part of this season. A couple of rounds ago he was chalking up race wins left, right and centre. He went on a brilliant sequence, and he himself has had 4 race victories rather, and he's been outscoring drivers in the second half of the season. He's been absolutely brilliant, but can he pull this off? That is the question. Can he pull it off? Can he catch up, close that gap that he has to Dominator? He's the one who's 4 points behind. You've got D Hartley, who's third in the championship. He led earlier on, don't forget, in this series. The Fuchs driver, he has also been pretty excellent through the season. He himself's had 3 race wins. It's actually 2 race victories. He had his first race win at Dragon Trail Seaside at round 1, and he followed it up again at Interlagos race 1. He was great round there. Can he overcome the deficit of 7 points he has as a Dominator? Then there's KZ2 Haas, who's really found his form in the second half of the championship. He's been picking up those consistent results. He's got a couple of race wins under his belt as well. He took his first ever win in the championship at Lego Maggiore, and he's had 2 more since then, so a total of 3 wins for KZ2 Haas. That brilliant run of results he had from Kyoto to Laguna Seca. And the last man, who's currently third out on circuit, Duskiver. His pace has been undeniable this season. Duskiver has been really excellent. 3 race wins for himself and 4 pole positions, but pole position point will be crucial tonight, and Duskiver will need every point he can get. He's currently 25 behind in the championship fight with the drop scores taken into account, so he's going to have to get as great a start as he can, as good a race 1 as the first lap times start rolling in. KZ2 Haas with a 32 flat. There's Duskiver. Dominator puts his effort down. Danzo follows in 4th. Big Madaz is 5th. Silver Fox 40 in 6th place. What about D Hartley, one of the championship protagonists? Goes into 6th with a 33-2. Chalk setting a 35. We've got Duds as well. He's just coming towards the line now. What's his lap time going to be on the opening set of runs? He goes and does a 33 flat. Will ride on board with Shadowstalker for a quick lap of the circuit though, as he moves up to 9th. He comes towards turn number 1. In fact, he's actually backed out of it, so we'll cut to Duds, who's gone through turn 1 already, and he's coming towards turn 2, which is this very quick left-hander, completely flat in any form of racing car, and then on the brakes at the 100-metre marker, down into what should be second gear for this hairpin. Duds 4 tenths quicker than his opening lap so far. Lovely exit as well from turn number 3. Well done to Duds on that one. Up through the gears, up to 5th, probably might even touch 6th gear at this stage as he approaches the braking point at 100 metres, down into 3rd gear, into 2nd for Duds, hugs the curb nicely and lets the car run over the outside curb at turn number 4. Through turn 5, which is completely flat, and then this tricky braking zone for turn 6, this left-hander. Duds has hooked the car up very nicely through turn 6, runs over just enough of the AstroTurf and then down again into turn 7, 3rd gear. He's purple so far as Big Madaz improves. You'll see a set of improvements on the left hand screen. There's Duskiver doing a 32.2. Now Duds has had a very tidy lap so far as he comes into the penultimate corner at turn 9, into 4th gear, cuts the corner a little bit, runs a touch wide over the AstroTurf. You have to hope he hasn't caused him a penalty. Down into 3rd gear for the final right-hander of this circuit of the lap. He comes towards the line. What is Duds going to set in terms of a lap time? He goes up to 2nd. He's on the front row, a 32.1, just behind KZ2 Haas, who was outstanding during the practice session. I've been watching him. He's been very consistent. He's bringing his A game with him. KZ2 Haas provisionally on pole with 4.5 minutes left to go in this session. There's Duds in 2nd, Duskiver in 3rd. 4th place D Hartley, and Dominator 3 is 5th. The top 5 in the championship, all in the top 5 positions. It's hardly a shock. Let's not forget about Big Madaz. I have to make a mention of him because he looks like he's got the pace tonight to cause a few issues. Does Big Madaz? He's not won a race this season. He's not even been on the podium since Interlagos, where he finished 2nd. but he has had 2 podiums and he's looked pretty racy in practice so far, so he might be able to throw himself in the midst and throw a little bit of chaos and panic in terms of the top 5 drivers. Duskiver, though, probably has the simplest job of everyone in terms of go fast and beat everybody. That's what he's aiming for. Haas is now going to come to the line. He's not going to improve on that lap. What about Duskiver? Doesn't improve. Dominator, will he improve? He doesn't improve as he comes towards the line. So what about D. Hartley? Comes round the final corner. Silver Fox 40 improves. Hartley doesn't improve. It's a 32.5. Dud's is a little bit further back in terms of the race circuit. Here he comes towards the line. Got all the track to himself, but he's not improving on this lap. 3 minutes to go. Dud's plants it on the brakes down into turn 1, but Dominator needs a response. The Joyce Design driver, he needs to have a good response. He's 6 tenths, 7 tenths even, off the pace of KZ2 Haas. This is a man who, don't forget, I've said it already, has had 5 pole positions this season. He's been superb. And he normally pulls something out the bag right at the end of the session. So we certainly can't discount him. As the driver's just starting to Constantine up a little bit through the midfield section, going through sector 2. 18.05 giving his support to Duds as well. Dominator improving. Duskiver in 3rd place at the moment. Duds has got a bit of a party going on in the chat. He's got 2 supporters in there. But any one of these 5 drivers in the championship fight tonight deserve to win it. They've been outstanding all season. But realistically, it's who can hold their nerve. As Duskiver comes towards the line, he improves and he moves up to 2nd. Dominator moves up to 4th. That shuffles Hartley down to 5th. He's on a personal best, though. He's going to get a nice slipstream from Silver Fox 40 in front of him, but he's not improving in the final sector. He's losing a little bit of time. 4 tenths covers the top 5. That's how close it's going to be around this second as Hartley clamps the curb going through turn 1. They will have, the top 5, enough time to do 1 more lap, although I suspect where Duds is, he'll have enough time too. He's picked up a penalty. Not ideal. He didn't need that in terms of his preparations. Shadowstalker improves further down in the 10th place battle between himself and Chalk. KZ2 Haas will be the next driver to see the start-finish line. What's his lap time looking like so far as he comes through turn number 7? He's purple. He's going even quicker. Is KZ2 Haas looking imperious in terms of his form so far in practice. Got a little bit of ground to make up as Haas, but it's certainly not unrecoverable in that respect. And he's going to come around the final corner nice and tidy so far from this lap. Cuts it into the final corner, runs it over the exit curve just a little bit. Will he make any improvements as he comes towards the line? He does. Improves again. Duskiver, will he go any quicker? He doesn't. What about Dominator? He'll be the next car across the line. He doesn't improve. D. Hartley. Now, the drivers will have 1 more lap. D. Hartley's got a nice slipstream from Silver Fox 40, but he's not improving. Duds we're keeping an eye on. He's got Chalk 12 just in front of him. Chalk, who's shown a bit of speed this season, but Duds is on a slower lap. So this will be his last chance saloon, and he might catch Chalk in an awkward place. So, a couple of drivers in the pit lane already. They've given up on their laps. They don't want to be anywhere near the fight as the timer ticks over. 10 minutes has struck. And the tension building in the drivers' cockpits, wherever they are, in the UK. Dominator just tracking Big Madaz. Whether that'll be a help or a hindrance in terms of how close he is at the minute remains to be seen. Duskiver just going into turn number 7, just ahead of them. Dominator's improving again. It'd be enough to put him on the front of the 2nd row. He is already on the 2nd row at the minute, but Duds 2 tenths clear if he keeps up that progression. So Haas will come round the final corner then. This is it. for the drivers. Can anyone dip into the 131s? Haas is going to come towards the line now. Is he going to improve? He doesn't. What about Deskyver? He's next up. Is he going to make an improvement? He does, but it's not quite enough. Dominator, can he do anything? He moves to 4th as Big Madass gets himself in the middle of the party. D. Hartley now rounds this final corner. Can he make any form of comeback? He can't. So, Duds is the only driver who can challenge for pole position. At the moment, it's going KZ2 Haas's way. Round the final corner comes Duds. He's a bit sketchy coming around that final corner. He's got the slipstream of chalk, but it doesn't look like he's going to improve. So it's KZ2 Haas who strikes blood first by 5 thousandths of a second ahead of Deskyver, who was so close. And well done to Haas to take the first pole position of his season. And what a time to do it. An extra point gained in that championship fight. Deskyver was alongside him in second place, so it's the two outsiders, so to speak, in the championship who have got the front row. Duds is right there, as is Dominator, and then Big Madass. I said he'd try and join in the party. He's looked quick so far in practice. He's there in 5th. He's got himself between Hartley. He won't be too pleased. But the 6 drivers covered by 4/10 of a second. Danzo, Silver Fox 4D, Chalk 12 and Shadow Stalker round out your runners. This is going to be incredible. So here we go into the race. Round 10, the finale. At Red Bull Ring for the Palmax Renault Mégane Trophy. You've got KZ2 on pole position on the right hand side. Left hand side is Deskyver in that white and pink car. 3M car on the right with that red and white livery. 20 minutes on the right hand side. Here come the numbers. And the race is live from the Red Bull Ring. It looks like a really good start from Dominator and Duds on the second row. Deskyver's going to be challenged going into turn 1. Haas leads comfortably. It's Duds on the outside. They're 3 wide going into turn 1. Deskyver fighting for all the circuit he can. Hartley bunches his way through as well. Deskyver manages to hold on to second. Duds 3rd. Dominator 4th. There's Hartley. He's got himself past Big Madass. That was important. Danzo 6th. Silver Fox 4D 7th. Those guys at the moment, Chalk trying to go for a move up the inside, but Haas, look at the clear track he's got in front of him already. He leads the way as Silver Fox 40 goes barreling up the inside of everyone, and he's compromised Dominator. He's compromised Dominator. He's compromised as well D. Hartley. I think just about got away with that. So D. Hartley's going to try and force his way past Duds on the inside. I think it was Duds actually who got impeded in all of that. On the inside, and to turn number 4 goes D. Hartley. He squeezes his way through and gets the position done. And look at the gap that Haas and Deskyver have built up already. Dominator all the way down at the back of the field. He's got a lot of work to do, and unfortunately it wasn't his fault. He was an instant victim as Duds goes straight back up the inside, trying to get his championship lead if he can, when he needs to. D. Hartley all over the curb as he goes through turn number 7 and turn 8. He's got Chalk right on the back of him with Danzo. We're going to come out of this and try and get all the camera angles where we can. Big Mad has shuffled down to 7th. Dominator's a bit far back as Danzo tries to make a move up the inside of Chalk 12 at turn 9. Not seen that really before in the Méganes. He gets a little bit sideways on the exit. Haas is doing exactly what he needs to at the moment. He leads the way. 22 points coming to his car as it stands. Deskyver in second. Hartley closing up on the brakes of Duds, but he can't quite get the line he needed as Duds goes a little bit sideways out of turn 1. They've already just started to stretch the legs a little bit, the two fighting for 3rd. And you need to keep doing that. Big Madass was relegated to 6th in a little bit of a shuffle at turn 1. There's Shadow Stalker, Danzo. Dominator's closing that gap back. He needs to get in this slipstream as soon as he can. He was impeded through no fault of his own. But at the moment, the championship leader finds himself 9th, and he's losing at present 13 points to KZ2 Haas, who started this race only 15 behind. So Haas bringing himself into the fight, as will Deskyver in this as well. Boy, Lobby 2 Race 2 is going to be frantic shortly. But we're not there yet. There's still 17 minutes of action to go, and Duds is consolidated 3rd position for the time being. D. Hartley's still attacking in 4th. He's trying to get away from Chalk, who's probably in a position where D. Hartley doesn't want him as Chalk picks up a time penalty, probably running a touch too wide through that turn 6 and 7 complex. Big Mad As is there, Shadow Stalker, there's Danzo. Dominator's within half a second. You can see how much he's trying through the corners to try and make up as much ground as he can. He knows he's got to try and get up to, realistically, 6th place. And look at Big Mad As trying to make a move on Chalk. Arguably stopped a little too early there. He's going to lose quite a lot of momentum. Shadow Stalker running in 7th. Danzo's tracking him currently. Dominator in 9th. But KZ2 Haas, look at the fight for 3rd. Hartley's going to go up the inside at turn 3. Doesn't quite get there though. Oh, and D Hartley tried to put on the power as early as he could, but he couldn't quite make it. These two both know how valuable these points are in this race. Just for a bit of a psychological advantage going into race 2. Points gained on the competitors at Chalk. I thought for a moment was going to look at the inside of Hartley. I think he just got his braking wrong. Fortunately, no contact. But nonetheless, Chalk in 5th. Big Mad As 6th. Dominator is trying to go around the outside. He's not done it. Got to say, Danzo, brilliant move to go around the outside at turn 6. That was really impressive. And now Dominator looking to try and get through past Shadow Stalker. Looks to try and switch underneath the red and white car. Coming through turn 7 and 8, but he's not quite close enough for a lunge at turn 9. Although Shadow Stalker leaves the door open, Dominator followed his line. He's going to have the inside for the final corner, and he gets the move completed. So Dominator moves himself back into 8th. Is the comeback on? Still 3/4 of the race left. Plenty of time for Dominator to try and make his way through. 18.05 giving a bit of love to Danzo's overtake as Danzo goes off onto the AstroTurf at turn 1. 18.05 just commenting, nice one Danzo. Was a very good move, excellent. And look at it again, D Hartley trying to do the same thing he did the lap before, but try and pull this one off this time. Little bit of contact going into turn 3. Hartley just about fends off Chalk. He decided to back off. He knew there was contact between himself and Duds. Backed off and stopped Chalk from going through, but Chalk has positioned himself in a really uncomfortable situation for the two in front. They won't want him anywhere near the back. He's in the back of D Hartley into turn number 5. He's just kept it on the circuit. I thought he was sailing into the gravel trap as Big Mad As goes back into 5th place where he qualified. That was an uncomfortable moment for D Hartley. He will not be happy with that, I can tell you. Internally he'll be screaming at that, what's just happened, because Duds has allowed himself to have a little bit of a break. He's now 1.4 clear. Attention mountain inside that cockpit of the Fuchs driver. Big Mad As having to defend heavily now towards the penultimate corner in that Mastervolt car. More support for Duds in the comments from 18.05. Big Mad As picks up a penalty, and D Hartley will not want those two anywhere near him, but he can't gap them yet. Danzo in the other battle for 7th position. He will be sitting there thinking, what is my strategy in this? Do I let Dominator through, try and use his slipstream, the pace of that Joyce Design car, or should I try and fend him off? He's under no obligation to help Dominator try and pull his way back through the field. And in fact, Danzo got a very good exit there. So he pulls himself just away from pressure from Dominator, who might be thinking a little bit tactically now in terms of the drop scores. He might think that 8th place, a good setup for race 2, try and break away early on. But is that the right call? He's still got time to make a decision. Meanwhile, look at the pressure that D Hartley's under now from Big Mad As they've pulled away from Chalk. Duds just circulating in 3rd presently. You see the different lines being taken. Big Mad As, the attacker at the moment. Hartley's run a little bit wide. The number 79 has gone a bit deep. And look at the gap closing down as they come towards turn 9. He swings to the inside as Big Mad As. Will he try and make a lunge at the final corner? Not quite. Just showing his nose to D Hartley. Looking very racy is Big Mad As, and D Hartley again getting his line slightly off camber. Slightly missed the apex. Just compromised him a touch. Duds isn't pulling away. It might have been a 10th difference between the two, and D Hartley will be furious that he can't close up to the back of Duds, because he needs, realistically, to take as many points out of his rivals, because Duskiver and KZ2 Haas are putting themselves, realistically, in with a good shout of this championship fight. They're driving excellently at the front, and Duds has gone over the exit curve at turn 3. That's a little bit more time lost. D. Hartley's doing well. He's not being pressured too much by Big Madaz. And at the moment, he's just not close enough to make a move. He can go in all of the mirrors and try his utmost, and that's a very good line from Hartley, in fact. And the gap is less than a second. So just coming up to the halfway mark now. KZ2 Haas and Duskiver, they're stationary at the moment in terms of their positions. But Duds, that was a peculiar line to take into the corner. Is the pressure starting to mount on him? Because look at that gap coming down, down, down. D. Hartley, despite the pressure from Big Madaz and Chalk behind, has done excellently and has put himself on the back of that rear wing for Duds. Dominator was looking to try and make a move around the outside of Danzo. Hasn't quite pulled it off. Dominator needs to get a move on. The guys in the fight for third place is a 4-car train now. And D. Hartley has become the attacker and the defender. Bit of a cut from Duds. Will he get away with that in terms of the track limits? He usually kicks in about now if it has. But D. Hartley, it has indeed. Oh no! That's a little bit more than a cut. It was a cut penalty. And look at Big Madaz trying to take advantage of the ghosting. He can't quite make it though. So D. Hartley goes through into third. Duds clearing that penalty. He needed to get rid of it. He wanted to try and get it out of the way as soon as possible, but he's got Big Madaz right with him now. Big Madaz, will he try and look at a move at turn number 4? He backs out of that one. Oh, look at Duds! He's gone too deep into the corner. Contact between the two rivals. Duds has gone round. It's gone wrong for Duds. He's all over the circuit. Can he get himself back on track? He can, but look at Dominator. Can Dominator try and make a lunge at turn 6? He knows how important this move could be. He looks to the inside, but he can't quite make it. Duds just about slots back in, but Duds made a mistake on the brakes. Round he went. He just gathered it up in time not to go into the wall. But Duds is under pressure. Dominator now looking all over the rear bumper. He's just going to hit the back of Duds. He's going to push him along. Duds with a small error. It's just cost him, and D. Hartley now has third position. He's gaining points back on the championship leader. Don't forget, D. Hartley was 7 points behind Dominator at the start of this event. And look at Dominator, he's all over the back of the orange car. He's going to look for a move up the inside as he... Oh, he's debating about it as he went through the corner. Just about avoided contact with Duds, and he's actually compromised his line out of turn 1. But Duds in 6th place. He's just got to collect himself. Try and clear the penalty on the brakes, which he does. Probably didn't know that heading into turn 3 that he could have cleared the penalty in the braking zone, but he does now. 8 minutes 20 to go. D. Hartley is gaining 5 points on Dominator. Bit of a wobble out of the corner. That's going to allow Big Madaz another opportunity. I said Big Madaz would be involved in this fight in some way, shape or form, and he's being a very direct influence at the moment, which D. Hartley will be sick of, because he's had to defend from him all the way through the race. But Big Madaz in 4th, Chalk's 5th, Duds looks like he's just starting to close that gap to Chalk in front. He needs to do that, get onto the slipstream of the Geisen car in front of him. In terms of the gap at the front, it's actually come down. Duskiver's been closing that gap on KZ2 Haas, and there's a fastest lap. The first man in Lobby 2 into the 31s. Duskiver has got the bit between his teeth. Will we see some changes here? That's one to keep an eye out on. It's D. Hartley and Big Madaz. Big Madaz looking to go for a move up the inside. This is critical for the championship, but Hartley holds on. He stays in 3rd position for now, but Big Madaz knows a 3rd podium this season is on the cards. He's coming towards turn number 3. Which way does he go? He looks at the inside. Can he go later on the brakes? He can't. Sits in behind D. Hartley. who takes his line normally and gets out of the corner pretty well. So D. Hartley stays in third. Wouldn't have made his heart rate go any less, put it that way. But Hartley's going to have to fight for third. Like I said earlier, none of these drivers, Big Madas, Chalk, Danzo, they're under no obligation to help out the drivers around them. They can fight for glory. It remains a question between KZ2 Haas and Duskiver. KZ2 Haas just consistently in the 32s. As Duskiver, I think, has just ratcheted up his pace a little bit on that last lap. Just keep an eye on the gap as they come round the final corner. Looks like KZ2 just responding on this lap a little bit. 32.3 and Duskiver 32.5. So interesting gap to keep an eye on. These two, 8 seconds, 9 seconds clear. But look at the gap now. It's practically not even a car's width. Look at Big Madas on the back of D. Hartley coming into turn 1. Will ride on board with Chalk 12. He's going to go for a lunge at the inside. Little bit of contact between the two. Big Madas has compromised himself, which compromises Chalk. Dominator is past Duds as well. So Dominator will have the slipstream from the two and the compromised exits to deal with in front of him. Can he have a sniff at 5th place as they come towards turn 3? Will he have it on the brakes? He does. He's going to try and make a later lunge. He goes to the inside. He's got the move done. Duds is following him through as well. So Duds and Dominator move themselves up to 5th and 6th. But Duds, can he make a move potentially to go up the inside? We'll have a look now. Bear with me one moment. Looks like while I was gone, fortunately, no changes were made. But Duds is keeping that pressure on Dominator at present. That's where he needs to be. He doesn't want to lose points to Dominator, and he's got a little bit of a better line, but he just couldn't put the throttle down as early as he would have wanted to. Chalk's been fired out the back of this group. He's in 7th. Danzo just tracking everyone. Keeping in with the mix for this fight. Oh, what a huge slide for Duds. You can see how hard he's pressing. He's really giving it his all. But Dominator's the one in a position now who could make a little move. Going into turn 3, you can see the closing speed of Dominator. Will he try and make a lunge? He doesn't. Big Madas covers that inside line. Duds trying to get on the inside. He's not going to have the momentum off the corner, and sure enough, he has to slot back in. Right on the floor camera of Dominator, because he is right there with Big Madas. He's going to move to the inside at turn 4. The championship leader making the moves he needs to do, and he's up the inside at turn 4. Little bit of contact between himself and Big Madas. Where's Duds? They're trying to make it free wide. They're surely not going to fit. Duds is going to have to try and squeeze his way through on the grass, which he does. Dominator defends on the inside. Big Madas trying to make a move, but can Duds slot himself in? It'd be brilliant for his championship chances if he can, and he does. So Duds up into 5th place. Dominator up into 4th. The top 5 in the championship are back in the top 5 in the race. Look at Duds weaving left and right, trying to find a way through. Dominator knows he needs to take as many points as he can. Duds trying to go to the outside. Can he pull it off around the outside? He can't. He's on the gravel. Almost. Oh, he's got a little bit of a touch from the back of Big Madas, as does Dominator. They both run flying off the circuit. Danzo trying to move through. He's made a move past Chalk 12. He's trying to make a move back as well. It's all kicking off in the last 2 and a bit minutes in this race. Chalk 12 on the inside. Breaks a little bit later than Danzo. Going to be compromised, these two, through this corner, which they are, but Danzo keeps his position just going around the outside. Chalk just a touch too slow. All of this has allowed D. Hartley to just break away and gain the points that he needs. KZ2 Haas and Duskiver just lapping at the same speed. I thought Duskiver, when he set that fastest lap, would probably make any more inroads, but it's not happened. So D. Hartley, look at Duds and Dominator once again. Side by side, going down towards turn number 4. Big Madas will ride on board with this, looking at Duds going at the inside. They give each other racing room. Dominator's still on the outside line. It's going to be on the inside for what will be turn number 6. Duds trying to go around the outside. Can he pull it off? He's going to try and hold it there, but he just can't follow it through. Oh, Duds is running as close to the gravel as he dares. And Dominator sideways go through turn 7. Duds has picked up a 1 second penalty. That could be critical. Because he doesn't want to lose a place to Big Madas. That's a point lost. He's got to try and clear that in the next lap. Because this will be the final lap for the drivers. Whether KZ2 Haas and Duskiver will get another lap, they might do. Let's have a look at the time. 2 seconds now for Duds. Duds has got a 2 second penalty. He has to clear it, and Big Madas challenging him. He's hit the back of Duds, and Duds is into the wall. Duds is round. Big Madas waits for him, but that is so crucial and cruel for Duds in the championship fight. He loses 3 positions. 3 points go beckoning. Big Madas just hit the back of him, and bizarrely that penalty has not cleared for Duds. But Duds has dropped to 7th. As Danzo and Chalk start fighting for 5th place. 1805 putting Tales of Woe in the chat there. Silver Fox 40's not too far away from all of this as well. So this has been an incredible race. There's a lot of tension in it. And look at Danzo and Chalk. This isn't still over for Duds. He's not too far away. If these two keep fighting too much, there is a chance. But I am going to cut back just to KZ2 Haas. Just as we watch Danzo and Chalk go side by side through turn 6. They're still side by side. I've got to cut to KZ2 Haas because he's just coming towards the final corner. What a blow to strike psychologically in this race. He's been brilliant all the way through, and he puts himself in firm contention for the next round. He takes the race victory. Duskiver is 2nd. D. Hartley will take 3rd. Dominator is 4th. But what about this random fight at the final lap? Look at Chalk, Danzo and Duds is sideways through the final corner. He's just held on. But is he going to clear this penalty before the line? I don't think he is. Big Madas is going to wait for him, and he just ends up finishing 9th. Well, drama on the final lap for Duds as Shadowstalker sees the checkered flag. But KZ2 Haas is the pole position and race winner. 22 points come his way. And what a finale we have poised. KZ2 Haas, the race winner. He takes that first championship strike that he needs. So whilst we're here, ladies and gentlemen, what I will do before ending the stream is I will just do a quick calculation of the points so that we all know where we're heading. In terms of race 2, I'll just put race starting at 2043. 2043. So, in terms of race 1, Dominator scored 4th place, so that gives him 13. Duds, in the end, only 9th. 8 points. But that will affect his drop scores, so he won't lose as many points as a result. Hartley ended up getting 3rd. KZ2 Haas won the race and got pole. And Duskiver got fastest lap point along with 2nd place. So, as it stands, Dominator 3 leads the championship on 272 points. In 2nd place on 267 is D. Hartley 79. In 3rd, KZ2 Haas on 266. 4th is Duds on 265. 7 points separates the top 4. 5th still is Duskiver on 253. He's at 19 points behind, and he might now be an outsider in this championship. In fact, taking the drop scores into account, Just having a quick calculation. That does unfortunately rule out Duskiver in terms of the championship fight. So it becomes a 4-way fight for the championship in the end. In Lobby 2, Duskiver is out. 1805 saying nice one, and he needs a beer after watching that. Well, that is race 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the tension here is building up for race 2. I will stop this stream and I will start race 2 very shortly. But nevertheless, do tune in just a few moments' time for race 2.